Alrighty, welcome back to the J Center podcast. Owen Hill, joined by Jesse Burrell, as always. And Jesse, how much better does 5-7 feel compared to 4-8? Because I was watching that baseball game yesterday, and oh my god, like I had us chalked up as 4-8.
Oh, and I will say, both 5-7 and 4-8 sound awful. But if I had to pick between one of the two demons, I will take the one with the more wins on the season. I will say, I had that exact same feeling as you going over the game yesterday. I thought, oh man, the offense is slumping again here. There's no way we're going to be able to get a rally going late. And the rally we got wasn't the most Blue Jays heavy rally, but they don't ask how, they just ask how many. And the Blue Jays got it done and very much needed to salvage a win any way possible. And they were able to do that against the Dodgers on Wednesday. So, 5-8 sounds fantastic to me.
Yeah, so Jays dug themselves a hole. As we know, it's been well covered at this point. Like the Rockies series was disappointing. The White Sox series was infuriating. And then the start of this Dodgers series, like we're going to start from the start. We're going to get to the positives. And I want to keep most of this episode talking about that third game because I feel like that was the closest game we got to actual Blue Jays baseball. Not that we can throw out anything we've seen so far in such a small sample size. What you see is more important. And that's why this start feels so much worse than it actually is. Because if you look at it over the course of a 162 regular season, like 5-7 stretch, it isn't that bad. But when it's all you've got to base your feelings on when it comes to this team, yeah, it feels pretty terrible. So I want to talk about, like, just really quickly, we can get in and out on game one of this series. What was the final score? Was it 14-2 or something like that? We got multiple Tyler Heineman innings again. It just, Jesse, how awful was that game to watch?
14-2 was tough, and especially because there was a lot of anticipation even from the start of the season coming in against this Dodgers series with how the Blue Jays have looked so far this season, with Max Scherzer going down early and just the offensive onslaught the Dodgers had against our team. It felt atrocious and almost laughable in a way, knowing from just how good the Dodgers have been and just how bad the Blue Jays have been, to show exactly kind of where at that moment both of those teams were. It was embarrassing, but also kind of felt, par for the course with how this Blue Jays team had been so far on the regular season. You never want to get embarrassed in your home barn like that, especially with all the media outlets all across, not even North America, like all across the world glued into this series. Once again, to lose like that felt bad, but hey, whether you lose by 1 or whether you lose by 12, it counts as 1 in the standings. And that's probably the good thing you can take out of that ass kicking, if you will, from the Dodgers in game 1.
Well, yeah, like Blue Jays run differential is this huge storyline all year as they're en route to winning the American League East and winning the hardest division in baseball. But all anybody had to say about them was, oh no, their run differential is not good enough. They're not actually this good, but the wins all count the same on paper. And I think it may be a good thing that they are going to dig themselves a little run differential hole early on in the series. We've already seen them be blown out twice. So, hey, I don't hate it. Not the worst thing ever. Expected wins, losses, means nothing compared to actual wins and losses. So, hey, it is what it is. But that game, that was the Max Scherzer start, and left early on, only 2 innings, and he's got forearm tendinitis. And Jesse, like, this pitching staff cannot catch a break. He's expected to make his next start, but I think you and I are probably both skeptical about, even if he makes it, how far he goes in that start, how he feels, and his outlook for the rest of the season now.
Yeah, for reference, that one run differential point, Jays are minus 22, 29th in baseball in run differential. So there you go for that. But let's talk about Max Scherzer here. Yes, so anytime you see a 41-year-old who's dealing with arm injuries or anything like that, like, it's hard to be optimistic, especially like there were shots in the dugout of like Pete Walker, John Schneider looking out going like, are you okay? Are you okay? And Max Scherzer had to keep telling him like, no, I'm fine. No, I'm fine. Remember, there was a big flu bug going around too, and Max Scherzer might have probably had some of that too going forward. Like, I don't know. It's just a team that has battled so many injuries early in the season. And then, I'm just getting flashbacks of the thumb injury Max Scherzer dealt with a lot at the start of last season too. Different injury, yes, but the vibes kind of feel the same here with Max Scherzer. And in a day where the bullpen had been very overworked lately, you kind of needed Max Scherzer to give you some length here, to put a statement in there, and he was just unable to do that. It's deflating in a way, and it's hard to be optimistic about Max Scherzer going forward, because I bet you this isn't the last time he deals with one of these nagging injuries.
No, it's definitely not. So again, like, I cannot stress enough how important it is that Trey Savage, Jose Barrios, and Shane Bieber get healthy and get back to pitching for this team. It's what they need. And I think, you hit the nail on the head when you said it deflating, because you saw what happens when was it Josh Fleming comes in the game, a guy like, can I be honest? I'm not like watching minor league baseball, but I'm paying attention. I did not know who Josh Fleming was. Like he wasn't even in a conversation to pitch for this team coming out of spring training, and here he is 10 games into the season, like cleaning up the mess, and he had to, and let me tell you, he's not cleaning it up well. By the time he's done his 3 innings, the Jays are out of this game. It's a blowout. There's nothing that they can do anymore. And it just is, I think you said it perfectly when you said deflating.
Yeah, pour one out for Josh Fleming, who was like down in the minor leagues for a long time. He finally he had pitched in the big leagues before for Tampa and Pittsburgh, so it wasn't like a big league debut for him. But, he hadn't pitched in the big league since 2024, and he finally comes back up. He gets his work, and thank you for all that time you spent in our minor league system, Josh Fleming. Thanks for your 3 innings where you get shelled for a 12 ERA, and enjoy the waiver wire, buddy. And like, that's got to be a tough go for Josh Fleming. But, he didn't pitch well, so there's that, and you could absolutely make sense why he was DFA'd here. But like, tough look for Josh Fleming, and I do hope he catches on with some other team somewhere.
Yeah, I also too, like, seemed like, and you have to be just such a pro to do that, to like, well, you're on the mound and your pitch count's getting up to 25, 30, 45, 55, like you get to 65 pitches or like whatever he got to, like the entire outing, you have to know, like, well, I'm getting DFA'd after this, like how
100%.
like the ability to perform, and not that he was performing well, but like keep your mind straight and do the job that is being asked of you and be a professional. Well, you just know in your brain that this is the last time you're going to be pitching for this team in the major leagues, at least for a while. Like, good for him. I appreciate everything you've done for us. At the same time, like, thank God we don't have to watch him anymore, because holy, Jesse was painful.
Just like Austin Voth last series when we look back at the end of the season and we see Josh Fleming 1 appearance, Austin Voth 1 appearance, we'll have very fond memories of the two of them pitching very early on in April. Maybe it'll be a meme coming down when our rotation shoves and our bullpen is fantastic, and we go, hey, remember when Josh Fleming pitched for this team? So there is that. But that's enough talk about Josh Fleming. We gotta get to something else here.
Yeah, absolutely. So game 1 of the series, I think you said laughable, right? So it was laughable. It's kind of the thing. Like, it was not that I wasn't like frustrated watching it. Absolutely was, because I'm watching Blue Jay Central pregame on Sportsnet, and like the only thing they talked about the entire episode, I guess, I don't know if you call it an episode. Anyways, the only thing they talked about was how Game 7 of the World Series ended in 2025. Like, not even a little bit of looking forward to this season and looking forward to even this series. It was literally just a retrospective look, and it was like pretty frustrating to watch, to be honest, because like, God, like everybody watching this broadcast knows how that one ended. So I feel like maybe a little bit more of a view forward. Anyways, that's not up to me. I'm not producing that show.
Right.
The game that actually made me upset was game 2, and that was when the Jays lost 4-1. Yoshinobu Yamamoto put up the exact same line he put up in game 6 of the World Series against, of course, Kevin Gausman again, who was really good, but the Jays obviously only able to scratch 1 run across the board there, and managed to not score with the bases loaded multiple times, I believe. Like, just, Jesse, an infuriating game.
Yeah, I'm with you. I was in attendance for this one, so I was soaking it in every single way. And 2 takeaways. One, Yamamoto is phenomenal. I don't need to tell you this. I'm kind of in awe, and I hate that I'm in awe for how much pain he's caused to like our fans and our fan base over the course of like the last 12 months or so. But he's a very good pitcher. But it was frustrating because the Blue Jays had a chance to win this game, and the Blue Jays of last season would have found a way to score some runs late. Like, after the Blue Jays loaded the bases with nobody out in the 7th, our win expectancy actually increased into our favors. And then what we have? Pop-up, strikeout, ground out, I believe it was, or something like that, to get out of the inning without allowing a run against Alex Vesia, a lefty too. And the Blue Jays should hit lefties very well. And it's frustrating. And what's the stat? We're 1 for 17 now with runners in scoring position.
I think with yesterday's game, it's actually 1 for 19 now.
1 for 19, and with bases loaded, not with runners in scoring position, which I haven't done the math equation on that to know what your expected run should be with the bases loaded, but the Blue Jays have probably given up, and just off the top of my head, 15 runs or something that they would normally score in a league average situation. You take your run differential at -22 and add 15 more runs to it. If you were just league average with the bases loaded, then we're probably looking at 2 more wins. What is it? 10 runs per 1 win in the math equation. That's at least another win and a half on the season with just hitting normal with bases loaded. So very frustrating. And honestly, I don't know how you fix this. You can't just tell players, don't like be more clutch. You've done the hard part. You've loaded the bases. Now just get one in. Like, I don't know how you fix this problem, Owen.
I think it's an approach issue, and like it's unquantifiable. I think like maybe I can look into it and look at the approach and see like what the swing decisions look like, how they're getting pitched differently, something along those lines. Because something is changing once the bases get loaded, and it's really hard to watch. I think like 1 for 19 is like 0.53, and I believe I saw something that would be like that. Yeah, that is the worst batting average with the bases loaded in I think April and March in the century, like since 2000. Just unprecedented stuff that they're doing. Really, really frustrating. And you look at it and like they're just not scoring any runs. And even in yesterday's game, like it was kind of more of the same until the very end. And like we're gonna get to that, but you look at the like projected numbers, and the Jays have like a top 5 expected weighted on base average. So like I don't know where like what's getting lost in translation between the process and the results.
Yeah, there's definitely something going on too. We were noticing coming out of the White Sox series that the Blue Jays have very much been a singles team over the course of the season. Owen, can you tell me which Toronto Blue Jay hit a home run this series?
Oh my God. No, I actually can't. Who was it?
No, because nobody did. The Blue Jays didn't hit a single home run this series. It was nice to see some doubles come through in the series. Springer finally had 2, which was very nice to see. Jesus Sanchez had 2 himself, and then 1 each for Vlad, Varsho, and Okamoto. So 5 doubles in a series has to be a record, but 5 extra base hits on a whole you need more than that if you're going to go out and win a 3-game series. And a lot of them came in game 3 of the series, which we haven't even got to yet. So yeah, we're getting our hits, we're getting our singles across, but it's like we really start to need to do some thump here with extra bases because it's hard to string 3 straight singles together to score a run when just a double and then 2 well-placed outs can get the run across as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's where it's going to start if you're going to turn this around. And luckily, like they did pick up a win yesterday, so this episode is not going to be all doom and gloom. Like it's okay. At the same time, like we do need to look at it in the full picture and not ignore what we've seen. And what we've seen is overwhelmingly like negative, especially on the offensive side. Like Kevin Gausman and Dylan Cease have been unreal, and they're 2 guys I want to touch on. Like I think they're the 2 leaders in strikeouts right now, like 1 and 2 on the leaderboard. I think they might even be tied. Like, so like they're striking out a ton of dudes. They're pitching well. It's just honestly the offense at this point, and then it's how deep is the starting rotation, and like can you rely on Eric Lauer and like that bullpen day and Max Scherzer in there? Like, can you do that?
Yeah, shout out to Patrick Corbin, who's going to get a start tomorrow that we will get to, I'm sure, at the end of this episode here. And we'll see if that's our savior of our season, Patrick Corbin, which good luck. But I agree with you, man. It's fantastic, or not fantastic, the opposite of fantastic. It's kind of amazing in a way that the Blue Jays this early in the season are already struggling so much with starting rotation. Like, I feel like it's going to get better. Cease and Gausman are here. They're pitching very well. They're probably even doing better than we probably could have ever expected, right? And then with the injuries with Scherzer, he's had like 1 good start, 1 not good start, and then an incomplete start. So, okay, you'll take that from a 41-year-old guy who's supposed to be your 5th starter anyway, right? This is where the Blue Jays really miss a guy like a Bowden Francis, who should have been able to come in here and maybe given you an inning or 2 like this exact role. I don't know, man. I do think because everybody is coming back, it is going to get better here. We'll see some Jose Barrios. We'll see some Trey Savage probably sooner rather than later. And then I think this pitching question is going to clear itself up. But the Blue Jays starting pitching, I don't think has been the main problem so far, especially with those 2 guys at the top anchoring it. Yeah.
No, it's not, definitely not the main problem. The main problem is you can't score runs. Like literally, you just have been unable to do it so far. And that's where the problem is. I have a little bit of a Dylan Cease conversation that I want to have, and it's not ready to press the panic button, okay? Like, that's not what I want to do with this. But at the same time, like, Dylan Cease cannot like pitch in the 6th inning, dude. Like, and why? I don't understand. Like, he got into the 6th inning yesterday. He was rolling. And then like is immediately like 2 walks to start the inning, loads the bases. Luckily, Louis Varland, and John Schneider called Louis Varland one of his favorite players, got out of the inning with nothing more than just a sac fly. Like really, really good work from Varland. Really impressive stuff, honestly, to be able to limit the damage there. But he got bailed out. Like he left the with the bases loaded and nobody out in the 6th inning, and only was able to give up 1 extra run. So you'll take that. At the same time, Dylan Cease is a guy getting paid like he should be going into the 6th and 7th inning regularly, not going 5 and dive.
Yeah, so I see where you're coming from with the Dylan Cease thing here. And when I see guys who struggle late into starts, I think of the third time through the order effect. So maybe that's an issue there. I just quickly looked up his stats here. First time through the order, he has not given up a run. Second time through the order, he's got a 2.84 ERA. Third time through the order for Dylan Cease, 13.5 ERA coming up there. So that needs to get a little bit better for Dylan Cease. And usually you see with players who are better third time through the order, like Chris Bassett was always very good third time through the order. It's usually guys who have an expanded pitch mix who can give these hitters a bunch of different looks. Dylan Cease has been adding to his repertoire since he's come to Toronto, but I feel like the numbers here show that he hasn't exactly figured that out yet. Maybe he needs to vary his pitches a little more. So when that third time comes through, he's not missing the zone as much, or maybe he's getting hitters off balance, maybe swinging out of the zone a little bit more for Dylan Cease to take that next level, to be that guy we think can go into the 7th and 8th inning consistently. And look, it's hard that we're slamming on the guy who's literally like the 6th best WAR so far in the season. He's leading baseball in K per 9. Like, I get that. But we have high standards for Dylan Cease, and this is what we need to see for him to get just a little bit better going forward.
Yeah, I'm starting to see why Padres fans were so frustrated with him, because you can see it. It's so tantalizing. Like, he, whenever he wants it, has 99 in his back pocket. He's like, oh, I'm having a hard time getting this guy out right now. He's fouling off some pitches. Let me just throw 99 above the zone and get a swing and miss and strike him out. Like, he's just, you'll never worried about him not having an out pitch. Like, because trust me, he has it in his bag and he can get to it whenever he wants it. And that's what's exciting and tantalizing about him. Again, it's just going to be with him, the walks, and how deep can you actually get into starts, because when your rotation is as thin as it is right now, as the Blue Jays is right now, you need Dylan Cease to be that legitimate number 1 option. And Kevin Gausman has done that. We need Dylan Cease to do it as well and get deeper into games and save the bullpen when you're on the mound. Because if you are asking for 4 innings worth of outs when Dylan Cease is pitching, you're probably asking for more than that when Eric Lauer's pitching, when Max Scherzer's pitching. You're very often going to be asking for that as well. Like, I think you need just a little bit more. And he's been good. Like, I don't want this to be I'm not enjoying the Dylan Cease experience. I very much am. He's really fun to watch, but I just need a little bit more.
Yeah, and I want the record to show that as well, that we are not trashing Dylan Cease here. He's been phenomenal. He's been one of the best pitchers in baseball to begin the young season. But I can understand the source of frustration knowing when you have that wipeout weapon right there, why aren't you going to it? Or like, you know, you have 2 outs pretty easily. You could have got the third, but then you walk 2 guys, you threw an extra 15 pitches, and then you get out of the inning. Like, I can see that sense of frustration, which is something to monitor going forward. Louis Varland, you touched on him earlier there. I wanted to throw him some love here. Blue Jays do not win that game if it wasn't for what Louis Varland did. Yes, the offense bailed him out late, but if that game gets out of hand early, which we have seen from the Blue Jays at times, the bullpen has had games get out of hand early. The Blue Jays do not win that game. So John Schneider's favorite player, he was my favorite player this series, so I'll give him that as well, getting the Blue Jays done. Win probability added doesn't give him justice. He deserves much higher than the mark he actually got there. But a hell of a job for Louis Varland. And if I could give him a full win for this game, I would.
Yeah, I think if you win a game for your team, you should get a full WAR. I think that's how it should work, right?
I agree.
Davis Schneider also would have been in contention to get that WAR because, man, and we're fully on this game 3, and I think me and you deserve to just kind of like bask in the glory of a victory, kind of like Vlad throwing his hands up to God after every single win and be like, oh my goodness, thank you so much, because we needed that really bad. So Davis Schneider, could we give him a little bit of love? The at-bats he's been having, honestly, probably some of my favorite on the team right now. And I know it's too early for this, but I'm kind of in the camp of I want to see him more. And I know it's because he's facing a lot of lefties and he's getting hidden from his bad matchups. And he trust me, he has his fair share of those. But I think what he's been doing, he's been one of the few guys who consistently has been putting together productive at-bats.
Yeah, and he did all of that work in the series to leave an impression on you without getting a single base hit in this series. So that was impressive for Davis Schneider. 4 walks, which was really helped. He scored 2 runs. Like, he did his job. He crossed the plate, including the biggest one that he had there. But I think the reason why it stands out so much to us, Owen, is because we're seeing the Blue Jays swing so wildly at times, especially at pitches out of the zone. And Davis Schneider isn't the one that's doing that. Now, you could say the Blue Jays built their identity last year on swinging aggressive, swinging early, and that's what they're trying to do. But it's refreshing when the offense isn't going and Davis Schneider is able to work up the opposing team's pitchers. He's able to get on base, make them work out of the stretch where they might not be as comfortable. And Davis Schneider is doing that. And you need players on your team that can do both. And right now, I think the Blue Jays offense would be better if they had more players taking the Davis Schneider-esque approach to help their team win a few more games here.
Yeah, I think so too. And we do have to talk about the base running in the the 7th inning, the 8th inning, when he was on first base, took off, and like that stolen base, the Blue Jays do not score that run from third if Davis Schneider does not get in there. And hey, man, you got a lucky bounce that the ball bounced away. And I believe it was Andres Jimenez was able to scamper home. So like shout out to Davis Schneider, good base running, like very sound player. And I think the Jays have been kind of sorely missing that because we've seen it with Brandon Valenzuela and Tyler Heineman. We've seen it with like even Dalton Varsho, like the guy who's supposed to be the anchor of your outfield defense. We've seen it from Vlad getting thrown out at third base with nobody out, trying to advance on a ground ball. Like there's been a lot of non-Blue Jays-esque plays, and it's a high standard that we've come to expect from them because they do play a very clean game when they're on, and we saw them play it like just to the like absolute max for an entire month in October, and they were nearly perfect in the playoffs when it comes to that kind of stuff. So seeing them, and I don't know what it is, it's hard to quantify, it's hard to kind of like diagnose why it's happening. I don't want to call it a focus thing. These guys are professional athletes, it's their job to do it, right? Like they are focusing, they're not just out there like la-di-da, you know what I mean? So I don't know why, but it feels good that they kind of got back to that, and it helped them pick up a win and hopefully more of the same going forward.
Yeah, two things. One, it was just really nice to see them smile after this game. Like a 6-game losing streak and losing 7 of 8 is tough. It can be deflating. So it was just very good to see those players smile at the end of that game. Very good there. Also, too, Owen, you asked me at the end of last episode, what did I want to see out of this Dodgers series to see that the Blue Jays are picking things up and that they are turning things around? And I was like, you need to see them get a bit of their identity back. And no, it didn't happen in full this whole series. I still want to see more of it going forward, but you are starting to see some signs, glimpses and pieces of things coming a little bit together, right? The base running moves, which you there, getting some clutch performances when they needed them late, especially like the George Springer double off the wall was very nice to see. Dalton Varsho had a couple of hits in this series too, which was nice to see, things we needed to see going forward. So they're not there, but I do think it's a small step and one of the smallest of steps to getting in the right direction, but it is a step in the right direction, which is a positive going forward.
So you can only win the games that you're playing right now. You can't look ahead and be like, okay, we won this one, but it doesn't matter because we're still 5-7. Like you can only win one game at a time. And hey, they got the job done. They focused on that game. They got out of there, like salvaged, not getting swept for the second straight series. And hey, they've lost 3 series in a row, but you've got the Minnesota Twins coming to town. And like you win 2 or 3 there, you're 1 game under 500. Like they're fine, Jesse. Like as dire as it has felt, and trust me, they lose another series to the Twins, it actually could be over. But at the same time, not actually, but that's the best part about early season baseball is not actually like you have a chance to get hot. Like look at the Guardians last season. Like they weren't even like a conversation to be in the playoffs until September, and they got stupid hot and got in there, and their manager ended up fraudulently winning manager of the year. Like you know what I'm saying? So it's not going to be over, but I think with the Twins coming to town, like you're okay, win a series there, take 2 of 3, and like we're back on track.
Yeah, and I know no one's going to like this, but just looking at the Fangraphs playoff odds from the start of the year, they were at 68.4%. They're now down to 45.4%, which is less than a coin flip now for the Blue Jays to make the playoffs, but there is still a long way to go, and 45% is not 0%. So we were going to be okay there. Before we move on, Owen, I did want to talk about Dalton Varsho, particularly his defense, and particularly with his throwing arm. I found in game 3 of this series, the Dodgers scored some of their early runs on the arm of Dalton Varsho. They were really able to take advantage of him, moving up on some plays. I saw it in game 2. He had a throw too that didn't look that hard. I really thought getting the full offseason from Dalton Varsho to rest and recover from that throwing or from that shoulder issue, that he would be able to have a stronger arm. And early returns on the season, it doesn't look like the arm is there for Dalton Varsho. So how concerned are you about that going forward?
Okay, so I think an outfielder arm, it carries a lot of value when it's good, but I think the expectations are actually fairly low on it. At the same time, like the Dodgers were playing like they knew exactly that he had no chance to throw anybody out. Like there
Right.
was some aggressive sends. I'm thinking of one in yesterday's game where like there was a base hit. I think it was off of Ty Rogers, and Dalton Varsho just had no chance. He made a really good, accurate throw, but it's just not fast enough and not strong enough to get the guy at the plate. And you said you think you thought the offseason would help him. I think it has helped him, Jesse. Like his arm was
Okay.
really, really bad. And I think just he's never been a guy with a great arm. And yeah, what it was at the end of last season, like I think was really, really terrible. It like there was nothing in there. I think it's better. At the same time, he's not throwing anybody out, and it's not scaring anybody. It's not stopping anybody.
Yeah, for what it's worth, I actually just looked up the data, so maybe I should have done this before I rambled on here. His arm strength is one of the worst in baseball last year, but his hardest throw was 81.1 miles per hour. He does have one up to 89.7 on the year so far, so maybe it has gotten a little bit better, but it's nowhere close to the 92, 94 miles per hour we've seen last season, especially from a guy who used to be a catcher. So long way to go to get back, but I guess it has seen a small improvement going forward. And like too, honestly, Owen, the Dodgers have scouted the Blue Jays probably more than any other team in baseball. So they probably knew this going in from the World Series last year and took it to advantage coming in here.
Absolutely, and it's no secret. Like, look what the Jays did to Aaron Judge when he couldn't throw in the
Yep.
ALDS last year. Like, they took so much advantage of that. They did it even in the regular season. Like, if a guy can't throw, like teams know that. And I agree with you. I think it's a problem. I don't think it's like I just don't know what else you can do about it because I think just with his glove alone, Dalton Varsho's value in center field, like unless you're playing Miles Straw there, but I think is just so unprecedented. And what he is hopefully going to start doing with the bat soon, big base hit yesterday in a big spot, really hit the
Yep.
ball hard. So what he's hopefully going to start doing with the bat, I think it's one of those things like there's not very many perfect players in baseball, and I think you might just kind of have to live with it.
Yeah, and like I think we'd still rather would have Dalton Varsho out in center. I think a lot of teams in baseball would still rather have Dalton Varsho in center field. So I don't think that's an issue there, but something that caught my attention in this series that I wanted to bring up here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good point. Okay, can we do George Springer because we've been hard on him.
Yes.
I specifically have been hard on him early in the season. Uh, Good for him to get the monkey off of his back yesterday. Had 2 hits, including a double. He's got his average all the way up to 184 on the season. So, he's got a long way to go to get himself like fully back on track and back to being actually George Springer. But at the same time, some big swings and like with runners on, was it first and second or second and third? And he hit a ball off the right field fence. Mashed the
Yep.
baseball, like would have been a homer in 7 out of 30 parks, I believe, something along those lines. So like just good for him to kind of get it rolling. And like I think I've said it before, and I'll say it probably till the end of the season is when George Springer is going, the Blue Jays get going. It means so much to have that bat at the top of the lineup and like getting the big hits. And like he is a guy that they look to. He's the veteran presence. And I think George Springer means more to this team than we give him credit for sometimes. And
Mhm.
seeing him get going, I think like really well, it was Davis Schneider that kind of cashed the winning run. It was George Springer that put them in the driver's seat to be able to do that.
Yeah, it was a very good piece of hitting from George Springer, who you are starting to see some signs of turning things around. I will say too, Owen, not a single pop up this series, which was
I was
very
watching.
nice for him. We wanted to see that. He was your offensive leader and wins probability added this series, so that is good. I still think there is still a ways to go for George Springer. He did get a couple hits, the expected batting average, which in a small sample doesn't say much, especially in a 3-game sample doesn't say much, but it wasn't very high. It wasn't very good. He might have got some BABIP luck along the way, but that double he hit was not BABIP lucked. That was smoked and that was hit well. And that was very good for George Springer. So just like we're seeing from some other players on the roster, we are starting to see now small steps forward from George Springer. And boy, do the Blue Jays really need that bat to get going. And if he does get going, let's look back at this series as the series where things slowly started to shift for him.
Yeah, I think so too. I think like they're kind of settled into the season at this point. I think they're getting like healthier. I don't want to say that in injury sense, but in a like sickness sense, that like that conversation around everybody being sick, like that is real stuff. Like I don't know if you've ever been sick.
Yep.
Personally, I'm a guy like I get man sick, dude. Like I have a cold. I'm down for the count. Like count me out for 2 days at minimum because like I need soup. I'm crying to myself. I'm shivering in my bed. Like I I do not operate when I'm sick, so it's hard for me to be like, okay, you have to be a professional athlete and go out there, and if you can be on the field, like you can play at the best of your abilities. Like I understand in a 162 game series, that's not always the case. So hopefully these guys are getting healthier. Hopefully George is figuring it out, and I still believe in this team, Jesse. Like I saw what I needed to see yesterday to kind of to let them reel me back in a little bit.
Good. And I think that's important too, right? Like there are Blue Jays fans out there that have already given up hope. You and I have watched enough baseball over the years to know you're never as good as you look when things are going great. You're never as bad as you look when things are going bad. And what's the saying in baseball? You're going to win 50 games. You're going to lose 50 games. That's what you do in the other 50 some games that really matter. Well, the Blue Jays still haven't lost their 50 games yet. So I think we're still doing okay. And I think we're going to be fine going forward here. It would just feel better if it happened sooner rather than later.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're at the point where we can talk about this Twins series a little bit. I think it matters a lot.
Mhm.
You're at home, you're going to go on the road next, and this is kind of the last section of quote unquote easy schedule that you had to open up the series or the season.
Yep.
If you can be like one game under 500 after it, I think you're fine. You just cannot lose another series here.
Yes, 2 out of 3 would help calm a lot of nerves against the Twins. Before we move into that, Owen, just a couple more thoughts to wrap up this series here. John Schneider got ejected, and John Schneider got very ejected in this series. It was this first one of the year. He got quite heated on that balk call against Kevin Gausman. I will say, being in attendance to that and watching John Schneider get tossed, still fun. Gave me flashbacks of John Gibbons. I always loved it as a fan when that happened. What did you think about the ejection from John Schneider here in this series?
So what was your over under? We did this in the pod. You said 3.5.
3.5, I think. Yeah.
I think we're such a lock for an over. He was so mad, and it was easy to get. Like he went out there trying to get ejected. First of all, not a balk in any way. Like
No.
he absolutely came set. Like
It was a slide step for Kevin Gausman, which is what it was. And I think that was the first slide step we had seen from him. So maybe the umpire just got confused and didn't see that and be like, that doesn't look right, and called the balk. But yeah, just goes to show, Owen, no one actually really does know what a balk is, not even the umpires, whose job it is to really know what a balk is. But yeah, John Schneider was absolutely right to get heated, and he was trying to fire up his team a little bit. He knew his team was in a slump. He knew he had to get out there and do something. And I think he was just waiting for that one thing to get fired up for. I don't really think what the call could have been. John Schneider was going on that field and he was getting kicked out no matter what happened there.
yeah, I agree. And hey, man, like it is fun to watch, and it kind of as a fan, I'm mad. I'm sitting on the couch. I'm like, hit him, like just start a brawl, like dude. Because I'm mad. I'm just as mad as he is because I'm watching exactly what he's watching. I'm like, God, like I hate you. I hate your guts. Like, just he is saying I'm living vicariously through him in that moment, and it felt good for me to see him get it all off his chest. And hey, they turned it around the next day and picked up a W. So hey, John Schneider, well, I guess they're 0-1 when he gets ejected, but the next day they're 1-0. So
fantastic. And if they go on a run from here, you can thank John Schneider. I will say I was up in the 500 level, so they couldn't hear me from down there, but I was screaming, throw a punch. Like I was ready for John Schneider to go out there and get suspended for 6 or 7 games or whatnot here. Of course, probably the fine would not be worth it personally for John Schneider. And you don't want to be that guy that punches umpires. It would be hard to get another job in baseball again afterwards if you did that. But still, that's the type of energy I wanted to see from our manager, and we had it here, which is quite nice.
Well, you got that big extension. He can handle any fine that they throw at him.
Sure, yeah.
He can do it. I actually had a little bit more drama from the Dodgers series I wanted to touch on, and it's Shohei Ohtani. And like, do you have any opinion on how long he gets between innings? Because Dave Roberts is crying that he's different. He deserves a little extra time. He's Shohei Ohtani. He's a unicorn. He can do whatever he wants, but he can't. Like, if you're gonna be different, you have to be different within the rules. There are rules set in place. The only thing that matters to Major League Baseball is how fast these games are, it seems like. And except when Shohei Ohtani's on the mound and he's taking however long he wants.
Yeah, it's because when Shohei Ohtani's on your TV, Major League Baseball is making money, and that's all they care. They care about Shohei Ohtani. He's baseball's biggest asset, if you will. I hate referring to players as assets, but that's what's happening here. And they want to make sure he is on the field and he is ready. And Major League Baseball is babying this boy. Now, I love Shohei Ohtani just as much as anybody else. He's a unicorn. He's fantastic to watch. I love him in 159 games of the year, except for the 3 he plays against the Toronto Blue Jays here. And yeah, I think the rules are the rules. And if you play in baseball, you need to be part of the rules. They've already made one rule in baseball for Shohei Ohtani protecting him. That's enough. He's on the pitcher's mound, for God's sake. Like, I understand he's got to check his glove for sticky stuff, but he can get in the dugout. He can go. I remember 2 years ago, was it Jose Altuve who had an issue hitting leadoff because it was a long run from left field to run into the Astros dugout before he hit leadoff? They didn't make any rule changes for Jose Altuve. Right. So you can't do this for Shohei Ohtani here either. I think it is garbage. And the Blue Jays were absolutely right to protest this.
Well, absolutely. And it's really annoying just how like whiny Dave Roberts got about it. And like that, like you guys they're insufferable because all they do is just win. And like they have this absolute super team and like they're crying over like the smallest little stuff. And like, I kind of blacked out on social media the last couple of days. Like it's been like hard to be on it because just like every time I scroll, I see the Miguel Rojas Game 7 homer or the Will Smith homer, and like it's just like bad for my mental health. But I was looking at it a bit yesterday, and like Dodgers fans are crying about it. Dave Roberts is crying about it, and I just like, guys, like he's Shohei Ohtani. And first of all, they have no business to be crying about the Blue Jays being upset because the umpire sided with them. So like, I don't see that at all. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about with Shohei is he absolutely had something sticky on the inside of his ankle or on his shoelaces or something like that, because I know you didn't get the chance to sit down and watch the game live, but the amount of times he tied his right shoe was bizarre. And I believe I didn't verify this, I didn't double check, but he threw a lot of breaking pitches after doing it. I was kind of watching for that, and nobody said anything, but I can almost guarantee there was something going on there.
I now have homework this afternoon then. I might go through and look at that because I'm all for a good conspiracy theory, especially if it's baseball related. I might be onto that because his command was kind of off too. So maybe he was going for it more because he knew his command was a little bit off with Shohei Ohtani. Interesting. I wanted to bring up a little bit of the beef he had with Brandon Valenzuela, who was throwing a ball to first base to try to get a runner out there, and his follow through hit his elbow. Shohei Ohtani and Dave Roberts kind of cried about that a little bit too. All that stuff. Look, Ohtani was in the box. I get it. And maybe he should have thrown around. I get it. But still, it's like, that's going to happen in a play. He didn't hit him with the ball. It was just his follow through coming through with his arm. I'm sorry, Shohei, but that cannot hurt that much. I'm sorry that he tickled your elbow a little bit there, right? But come on now. That was like Valenzuela did nothing wrong on that throw there. And to the fact, like, he apologized after and Shohei Ohtani wasn't having it. Like, come on, man. Valenzuela is playing his third Major League Baseball game. Shohei Ohtani's a multiple-time MVP. Like, give the guy a break. Come on.
Yeah, can I be honest? Like, I'm not a Shohei Ohtani guy, and I think it has a lot to do with like he burnt us really bad, and I was as excited as anybody when he was like on the plane and whatever. We're not gonna dig up those ghosts, but I was really excited for the prospect of Shohei Ohtani coming here. But since like he literally like joined the dark side when he went to the Dodgers, and then he still tries to like save face, and with the whole like the the whole gambling conspiracy, and like I think there's just a lot of shady stuff going on. And as you said, he's MLB's biggest asset, so they do whatever they can to protect him. And it's getting kind of tiresome, and like the back-to-back things at our championships is not really helping his case for being more likable on my end. Like he does, like, frankly, own us. Like, I hate to say it.
15 home runs against us with his time with the Angels and Dodgers. Like, that's insane.
Yeah, so I don't know. And it's kind of hard for me to say because personally, like when I watch sports, like my favorite thing to watch for is greatness. I love my teams, like, and I would call myself a big fan of my teams. But at the same time, if I'm not choosing to watch like my teams that I'm a fan of, I'm looking like who's the best player playing that night. I want to see them play. I want to see like LeBron James play. I want to see Nikola Jokic, and like I want to see Mike Trout play because like these guys don't last forever. I want to see the best players in their prime. I want to be able to tell my kids like, oh my God, like you should have seen Mike Trout. Like when Mike Trout was in his peak, it was like any other player I've ever seen. And like I want to feel like that for Shohei. I really do. but I can't. Like the whole act is getting a little bit tiresome for me.
You will post playing career, like once his career is done and over, you'll look back and you'll have that fondness for Shohei Ohtani. But the pain is real, and his career is very much tied with the Toronto Blue Jays as well, and always will be. So I'm very much in on Shohei Ohtani. I'm glad he's in the National League West, so we don't have to see him that often. But I will say, I get your theory of how something just seems off about him. Like even his dog, like it comes up there, Decoy, like he's too cute. Like there's a problem there. Like something's going on, you know? And like, I understand I'm not the first one to make that theory. I heard it on a podcast once, but I agree with it. Like something's odd over there. I don't know.
Yeah, well, he's got this like clean guy persona, and like I don't know that it's actually as clean as we all think it is. Like he's got to have some dirt on him or something. Like I don't know. I'm not trying to like get into his personal life. Like I don't care enough about that. But at the same time, I don't know. I know it's an old man yelling at cloud. It's a boomer take. Like I hate that I'm having this take. I don't want to be that type of guy that's like, I don't like Shohei Ohtani. But I don't know. It's getting old. I love what he can do on a baseball field. I think he's probably the greatest baseball player I've ever seen in my entire life. Like obviously.
Yeah, geez, Owen. Like, why do you hate fun, man? Like, come on.
I know. Well, because I hate anything that goes against the Jays, I think.
I get that. All right. Anything else you had on this series alone before we take a look at the Twins and wrap it up and get out of here?
Yeah, I also really hate Yoshinobu Yamamoto. No. No. That's enough hate for me. The Jays are on a 1-game winning streak, so I think we can keep the rest of this positive and get out of here.
Yeah, man. Vibes are high. We're on a winning streak. Let's go. Who knows? We just lost 6 in a row. Maybe we'll win 7 in a row. Who knows? Baseball's weird like that.
Absolutely. Okay, so I wanted to get your opinion on the off day. Is this a good off day or a bad off day?
I said last off day was probably a good off day for the Blue Jays. This is probably even better. I like that this off day happens at home. The Blue Jays do not have to travel today. So this is a very much pure reset day. The players can get up, they can get a workout in if they want, but they can basically do whatever they want. They can get their mind off of how things have been for this team. The bullpen is going to get another full day of rest. The hitters are going to get another full day of rest. It's another full day of looking ahead to what is a very paramount series against the Minnesota Twins. I think this is good. I don't think winning one game and the way they even won the one game doesn't kill momentum or doesn't kill buzz at all. I think the Blue Jays kind of need this day as a reset. And I hope the Blue Jays are getting that. Like sleep in like we did today, Owen. Like get some good rest. Everything is needed for the Blue Jays.
No, I think that's the exact way I wanted to phrase it as well. I was going to agree. I think this is an awesome off day. It's going to be back-to-back days where you don't lose. So what is that? Basically a 2-day non-losing streak?
Let's go.
And hey, when you've lost, what was it, 6 of 7 at some point? Like that stuff matters, and you get to like kind of relive yesterday's win again today. It's going to be kind of good, I think, for you and me to not have to like stress out and be frustrated at the Jays for another night. And I think you get 2 days worth of momentum from one win and one squeaked out win at that. So I think it plays in their favor. And again, a team that's not healthy, one more day to, like you said, get a workout in, get some extra sleep, like maybe get themselves feeling a little bit better. I think that's a good start. I think is a great off day. Came at a great time.
Yes, and looking ahead to the series that we will be playing here, it's the Twins, yes, but it doesn't get that easy. We do get the Twins' best pitchers. They have Simeon, Woods, Richardson in a revenge game, and then we got to play Joe Ryan, who is their undoubted ace, and then Taj Bradley, who just had a fantastic start. Jays have seen him a lot for what it's worth with his time with the Rays, but those will be 3, not walk in the park pitching matchups. And when you pair that with the Blue Jays, we got Patrick Corbin, Eric Lauer, and Max Scherzer, and then that will be, our weaker 3 in there. So the Blue Jays are going to need the offense to get going to have a chance to win this series.
Yep, absolutely. But I think if you can get into this Twins bullpen, that's where you can start to make some hay. And I think like some extended at-bats early in games, get some guys on base, threaten a little bit, maybe scratch a couple across, get into that Twins bullpen. Like this is a very winnable series on paper. You are still the Toronto Blue Jays. You are still projected to be not projected anymore, but at the start of the season, like you're projected to be one of the best teams in the American League. Go act like it. Go beat a team you need to beat.
Yeah, and let's see those scrappy at-bats continue. I don't want to see a bunch of outs on the first pitch. I'm looking at you, Nathan Lucas. I'm looking at you, Dalton Varsho. Like, take some pitches, foul some pitches off, right? Work into that count, get the starter out early, because in this series, more than others, it's going to be very important to get into that pen, and the Blue Jays are going to want to do that early.
Absolutely. Okay, so Patrick Corbin on Friday night What do you want to see from him? What do you need to see from him? I haven't seen him pitch a whole lot recently because I'm not, like I said, I want to watch greatness. So that does not include Patrick Corbin the last few years. So what do you want to see from him?
Patrick Corbin has had a big home run issue over the course of his big league career. He kind of made his claim to fame over throwing that sweeper before anybody else did. And then everybody else in baseball started throwing a sweeper, and his sweeper wasn't that effective anymore. So I want to see a bit of that. But if he can ultimately keep the ball in the yard, he's had very elevated home run per nine rates over really since the last 5 or 6 years. I just need him to get through this start without allowing a home run. I think if he can do that, he's going to throw enough strikes. He's going to let the defense play, like let them shine. And then Patrick Corbin should be able to do enough to keep the Blue Jays in the game. And I think that's really all you're asking for out of Patrick Corbin in this start.
Yeah, if you can be in the game by the time you hand it over to the bullpen, and I think we're at the end of this episode, so we don't have to do it now. But I think we did not talk about the Blue Jays bullpen enough in this episode and how much of a saving grace it's been for this team. And like the bullpen is kind of the backbone of the team. It's probably the healthiest part of the team right now. Knock on wood. Like, please God, please just knock on. Like, it's okay. We don't have to do it. But the bullpen, I think, has been really, really good. And I think like especially your guys that you're going to be relying on, your Jeff Hoffmans, your Tyler Rogers, your Louis Varlands, like even extend that to a Braden Fisher and a Mason Fluharty. Like I think they've been really, really good, and I've really liked what I've seen from them. So if you can be in the game by the time it's time for a battle of the bullpens, I think you have a really good chance to pick up a W.
Yeah, we're 5th in the majors in strikeouts per nine for the bullpen this year. You know, our xERA and our FIP isn't that high, but a lot of that is we've had some duds, and Tyler Heineman has pitched twice. So take those out, and the whole season stats looks a lot better for the Blue Jays bullpen. And I agree. They don't win that game in the finale if it wasn't for what those other guys did. So I'm with you.
Absolutely, man. Okay, so it's going to be Patrick Corbin, and then is it Lauer as long as he's healthy?
Yeah.
So
Lauer, then Scherzer.
So Eric Lauer, you need a bounce back from him because he was short last time because he was sick. I'm like, please be healthy. That's all you can ask for. But a healthy Eric Lauer, we've come to expect decent starts from him, and he will keep you in a game, and he'll keep the ball in the yard. So, like, I think this series, it might not be the Jays' two big dogs coming out in Cease and Gosman, but I think it sets up better than you expect.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm nervous, but cautiously optimistic we can take 2 out of 3. I would really love to see some of these guys at the bottom of the order finally get into that home run club. Let's start slugging the ball a little bit. Like Dalton Varshaw's got to have one here soon. Simeon Woods Richardson is a like mid to slow throwing righty with throws drunk down in the zone. Like that is exactly the type of pitcher Dalton Varshaw should do damage with. So I would really like to see him get going. And I would love to see George Springer keep things up as well. We saw signs. I would love to see him keep that rolling. Don't throw back those gains who just made this series.
Yeah, I think those are the two big ones. Are we going to get a Tyler Fitzgerald cameo in this series, hopefully?
Yeah, I'm surprised we actually didn't see him in this past series coming up. I do think he will likely get a start in there. I would love to see him. I'm intrigued with Tyler Fitzgerald and would love to see what we have with him here.
I agree. I think I was also surprised we didn't see him. I think John Schneider kind of a little hesitant to use him, easing him in. But yeah, I'm excited to see. I just want to see what it looks like. I think the offense, as much as you won yesterday, is still scuffling a little bit. I think something to maybe spark it up a little bit. Maybe he gets some at bats that Nathan Lucas might have had or something along those lines. I wouldn't mind seeing that.
Yes, and all righties for the Twins, so maybe not. But if there's a lefty reliever late in the game, or you need some defense or speed or something, I think we'll see him in there.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. You got anything else here, or are we going to wrap this up and talk after Minnesota?
I'm sure I'm probably missing something, but I'll think about it 3 hours after we're done recording, and so be it. But until then, I think that is good. I think we're set. Let's go get a series win against the Twins, and let's start feeling good about our Toronto Blue Jays team.
Yeah, so whatever Jesse missed talking about here, you can check it out on Jay Center. I'm sure he'll write about it. Jesse, great writer. I've been really enjoying reading what he's had to say early on this season. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you give us a like, comment, subscribe, helps us out. Reach out to me or Jesse or both of us on Twitter. Let us know what you say, comment on the pod. And Jesse, thank you so much for joining me. And we're going to talk soon, all right?
Can't wait. Looking forward to it. Let's go, Jays. Let's kick some Twins butt this week.
Let's do it. Need to take 2 or 3 here. You need it. Thanks. We'll talk soon.